It's definitely comes with a lot of background efforts.
True.
When you get such kind of a recognition, you really look back to what did I do to deserve this, right? That's the first question. Am I deserving of this? And then when you look back at your journey, you realize, okay, really we did some good work there.
True.
Right? So selling skills are basics. Right? So if you say a cooking skill is basic, a driving is basic, selling skill is basic, I would say, right? So definitely you and me are pretty much replaceable. So if you don't change with the requirements of the society, the norms, the industry, you're going to be, left aside. You need to update. Another thing, if you're, in an organization for a longer time. So I changed 7 roles in last 8.5 years.
Amazing.
Come out of the college, you don't know what corporate looks like, and how do I use these skills serve you throughout your life. You need those vitamins, proteins, and a lot of other things to lead a healthy life. Similarly, your bread and butter, which is the basics, is going to be your degree, but what you really need to build out of is your skills.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another yet enlightening episode of GIBS IRE Talks podcast, powered by GIBS Business School, Bangalore. I'm Sandeep Bhansali, your host for today's IRE Talk podcast. And today, we have one of our beloved alumni of GIBS, Ms. Shraddha Patil. Shraddha has worked in corporate for last about 8 to 9 years. And the best part is, she is here to share her journey with all our students and to share her experiences, how it took her from campus to corporate. So it's our honor and privilege, and I would say it's very joyful moment for all of us to have our own student, Shraddha, coming on this podcast and sharing her experiences. All right, Shraddha, thank you so much for joining in. It's an honor to have you today with us. So it's so nice to see you coming back to your alma mater, and a pleasure having you today.
It's definitely my pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Shraddha. So just to start with, we would love to understand about your journey. How was your journey right from, I would say, from Sangli, Maharashtra? You started a small town, but today you've grown like anything in Bangalore. So if you could elaborate a bit on your previous academic background and how was things?
100%. So definitely, as you correctly remember, that I definitely come from a small town with a group of friends, and this was the first city life experience for us, right? Coming into corporate. To be very honest, we never even had an interaction with someone who belongs to other state. So having to, collaborate and stay with folks from different background, getting to understand them, working through those years was really some crazy experience, right? And I think that was the first time even I was staying away from my family. So definitely all of you, the entire management and the students out there were our families. So a lot of memories, great nostalgia. So today when I come back here, it doesn't really make me feel proud, but definitely so nostalgic. So that's one thing.
That's amazing.
I did my BBA back then, and eventually the next step was to get my MBA done. So that was the first choice. There was no other thing that mattered. The way I was escorted, the way I was given guidance, that was something that really influenced my decision, as well as the other 4 friends of mine. So we literally were a pack of wolves who decided to come in as a group. And I'm sure all of us are doing really great in different paths. But yeah, overall, great experience. I think I would say the kind of exposure that I got in the campus was way far more different that you get in maybe a classroom setup.
True.
So I think a lot of evolving for me happened. It was a turning point for me when I was actually in the campus doing a lot of things, taking those initiatives, and I was given that liberty to go ahead and do whatever you love to. So I think.
So you were one among them. I've seen throughout your journey in GIBS that you were, I would call it as a butterfly, where you wanted to explore each one aspect of the institution. Either it is academics, either it is events, either it is hostel life. You have explored like anything. Do you remember any of such instances where you would say, sir, this I still cherish on the day-to-day basis?
I would I really love that question because to start with, back in home, definitely there were opportunities, but you have other priorities, other friends. Being in the campus, 80% or 90% of the time, you have something like, okay, what next? What else can I do? Not every student gets gets that opportunity to go ahead and, ma'am, I have this idea. Go ahead, beta, explore it. That
True.
was the mentality, right? Like, if we are new to business, we are new as a campus back then,
Back then, yeah.
you have that opportunity to explore along with us, grow along with us. So what new you are doing, we really want to notice that, and we want to be. So it was like how a parent would see their child take their first steps, like that. You saw us, okay. Now they are admitted. Now they are learning their courses, and now they are something good. So I think that opportunity to explore whatever I was able to. Trust me, sir, I moved from department to department at GIBS. I had multiple clubs that I was heading. Same thing goes back to Salesforce today. I've been
Wow.
in Salesforce for so long, and if you open up my profile, I have been going from department to
True. I
department.
have seen that going.
So I think, yeah, that's what I took from there. Like, if you want to do something, you just need to raise your hand. And I learned it, and I got that confidence from GIBS.
Amazing, amazing. I was just about to ask about the same question when you say Salesforce. So, how did you land in Salesforce? Because people today, when you speak about Salesforce, they say, "Boss, मुझे sales नहीं करना है," right? And it is just not sales what you get into any organization for. Or today there's a myth saying when you say sales, when you say marketing, people get, I mean, they have a lot of myths.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I cannot do sales, I cannot talk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think today everybody needs to sell some or the other thing. They need to
100%.
brand themselves, they need to market themselves. So, how do you take that as a challenge when you moved out of campus and you joined Salesforce? How was your journey there?
Lovely. First thing, before even talking about how I got into Salesforce, one thing I learned when I saw GIBS grow as a brand, the way we built it. Like, I say we because
Absolutely,
I'm part of
it is we always.
So the way, all the management built the brand from the scratch, I think that's what I learned. And one thing was on top of mind is, how do you build yourself as a brand?
True.
Right? What makes Shraddha different from what's out there?
True.
And when I headed those clubs, I realized, okay, it was not just a time pass, it was a turning point for me, because I remember our placement head back then, she chose me to be one of the leads in placement. And when Salesforce came to campus for interviewing, I was the person who was escorting them. I was around the leadership team of Salesforce, talking to them, having those conversations. So there was not my placement head hosting them, there was a student hosting them, and that built a brand for them. And I think from there it started. When the leadership from Salesforce saw me escorting, going around doing those things, she's like, okay, this is something I want in my office. This is something I want, or this is some person I want in my team. And that's how my Salesforce journey started. Because when I was escorting her around, before even my interview started, she was like, hey, I hope you have applied for this role. And that was like, yes, ma'am, I am. So that's how my journey started, and that's how I landed in Salesforce. And trust me, it's funny to say that I don't know much about the world, because I came from home to another family, that's GIBS. From here, I moved to Salesforce, and 8.5 years I'm there.
Amazing. So
Always
when
blessed.
you speak, as you rightly mentioned, that you were part of the organizing team, right?
Mhm.
So gone those days when people we get a lot of inquiries or queries from the students and say, sir, what is a placement? Or is it 100% placement? But boss, today I don't think placement goes the way you think, where we sit like this and interview each other and then say, okay, you're hired. You can be picked from anywhere, right? And you had marked your identity, your personality right there even before entering the interview hall,
100%.
right? So, and today when we see you being among the top 5% of the Salesforce team, and you've been acknowledged, you've been recognized, how do you feel about it?
It's definitely comes with a lot of background efforts.
True.
When you get such kind of a recognition, you really look back to, what did I do to deserve this? Right? That's the first question. Am I deserving of this? And then when you look back at your journey, you realize, okay, really, we did some good work there.
True.
Right? So that's one thing. Now, definitely there is a mentality, and I would have had that mentality back then if I were a student, that it's your responsibility to place me. No, I don't think that's correct. So, how I build my resume, what are my qualities? Am I eligible for that? You
True.
might bring the biggest brand and put it in front of me. Am I eligible to crack in?
True.
Right? A Salesforce might come 100 times. Are you eligible to crack into Salesforce? Right? It doesn't depend upon a institute to decide which student goes where.
Right.
It completely is students' responsibility. Giving guidance, giving those opportunities is yes something a college can do or institute can do, but deciding or having that crack through is whole and solely your responsibility as a student, I would say.
Amazing, amazing. So you've gone through multiple departments in your organization as well. So if I'm not wrong, you have taken HR way back and you landed in marketing. So how did you interconnect the HR and marketing, and how did you feel, okay, this is the right area where I need to develop myself, or probably that can be your forte as well?
Lovely, great point that you brought that up. So I think before as well, you asked this question about sales and marketing. See, at any point of day or anything that you do in life, you are somewhere somehow doing sales, right?
True.
If you're even an HR candidate, you're a account candidate or finance candidate, you are selling yourself to the interviewer. So selling skills are basic thing,
Basics.
right? So if you say a cooking skill is basic, a driving is basic, selling skill is basic, I would say.
It's a necessity.
100%, right? And that's how you survive, because placement is one beginning of your entire life journey, and that's how you're gonna push yourself through your teams. You're gonna, propose your projects to your manager, propose yourself as a best candidate to get that promotion. So all these things really require sales qualities. And I think again, when I realized that I don't need to stick to one thing and explore those opportunities, and at the end, I was a wholesome candidate at GIBS, I realized why not do the same thing at Salesforce.
Amazing.
Right. And luckily I had similar kind of support there where I was able to go through multiple roles and get the best out of all. And definitely today I'm in enablement where I train my reps to be great sales folks. So yeah, that's a full circle.
That's amazing, I would say. How important is the change, if we say, because a lot of aspirants, or I would say Gen Z, are very adamant, I would say. I'm sorry to use this word, but yes, they are more rigid that they don't want to change. But if we see the scenario, if we see the industry, if we see the technology is changing rapidly, and even the departments, right? So how do you see the change, as in, or if you have to give a message and say, guys, this is must. So how do you see that change in you, in corporate, or whatever message if you would love to give it to the students?
I think really brilliant question there. So one thing is, it's been always said, right? One thing that is constant is change. And if you don't change with it, you're just gonna lose, right? I was just talking to the students upstairs, and we spoke about this Kodak story.
True.
Right? How Kodak was a great camera company, but their major sales used to come from the reels. Or
the reels
they sell. That's the Gillette blade strategy. True. What we call about. Now, when in I think 1975, one of their engineers came up with this digital camera. They were like, hey, we are doing great here. This is something which will drop our sales. So they were comfortable in the revenue they were making. Until in 1990, where Sony and Canon came with their own digital cameras. And that was a really sad time for Kodak, when a brand that huge, a pioneer in the market, came crashing down because True. They did not adapt, they did not evolve. If something that big can happen to that big of a brand, right? So definitely you and me are pretty much replaceable. So if you don't change with the requirements of the society, the norms, the industry, you're going to be, left aside. You need to update. That's one thing. And another thing with this particular generation, I would not talk from a generation perspective, because everyone has their own challenges. True. But for this particular generation, what the bigger challenge is, people who have already graduated and moved on, maybe have 7, 8, 10 years of career experience on their resume, are still banking on that experience. The batch who is yet to come still have that leeway to learn and build that AI knowledge or AI literacy. But the batch which is currently in there came out at a verge where they won't be respected for what they have learned, nor will they be able to fall back and
Very true.
So it's very important. It's high time. It should go like a red alert where they should start working on their AI skills.
AIs. As you rightly mentioned, off note, we were discussing about what is that which the institution is into the AI. Now there are a lot of certification programs, a lot of training programs which we do it, a lot of as a specialization we have included in the course curriculum. So that what happens is they should have at least hands-on. I would not say they should know to build an AI, but at least they should have an hands-on that they're able to prompt it in a right way. When we call it as prompt engineering,
True.
That's very, very much basic, right?
True.
Today you have everything right out, but do you know how to prompt it? Do you know how to utilize it? Today, when we speak about AI, people say it's only ChatGPT, right? That's a sad note, but there are a lot of platforms available for every small thing out there, right? So that's an amazing point which you have put across. And one more thing I've seen you were discussing about mentioning about evolving. So if I speak back, so since you were among the I would say initial first few blocks of the GIBS, so you have seen GIBS evolving right from there where there was nothing and you were part of that particular premises. And today you have seen a GIBS in such an amazing place it is today. It is evolved like anything. What's your take on that?
I think I'm not able to cope with it. That's what I would say, because you see, okay, the institute is doing X in X direction. You're doing X, Y, Z in all possible direction and maybe some other dimension as well. It's great. It makes me feel proud. And I think most of the alumni should, realize this, that the bigger of a brand GIBS is becoming, the better add on to our resumes itself.
True.
Right? So I am proud to say that, okay, mine is not just a MBA institute or a business college. It's this big.
True.
Right? So I think I would love to come back and contribute as much as possible to building, to being a little bit or smaller part of that building block as well.
Amazing, amazing. So I've seen you going from a small executive level to the top management positions. You are working towards the global exposure. You're getting into the global clients. You're interacting with the India out. So if somebody is looking forward, enhancing themselves from being an executive to getting to the top profiles, what are 3 messages if you can just give us that, okay, bare minimum requirement, these 3 things you have to do. One which I always felt is the tenure which you have been in the organization, because we see attribution is grown like anything. People jump company to company within just 3-6 months. So what's your take on that?
Great thought there again. Definitely tenure is important. Now tenure shows something. Again, this is something I was talking to the students as well. A lot of them have this mentality or have been brought up this mentality that if you're in an organization for more than 5 years, that's a black spot on your resume. It's definitely not. Right? So what's a black spot is you're in the same role for more than 5 years in the same organization. What does that say? That you are not someone who's capable of growth, or your growth is stunted for some reason. Another thing, if you're in an organization for a longer time. So I changed 7 roles in last 8.5 years.
Amazing.
Right? So that really comes on handy to me, saying that, okay, I was able to move these roles. I proved myself again and again. And that's the reason I'm so long in this organization. And
true.
So those are the things which, everyone should really consider, that how fast are you able to evolve with the organizational growth. If you are outdated, you might have to step out. You evolve with their business growth, their mindset, and you're intact. You're one of the top performers. You're before you know, you're in the top 5% there. So I think 3 takeaways: grab those opportunities which you get.
Amazing.
Keep evolving.
Okay.
And I would say another thing is keep a check on your skills, which is very important. Again, learning is a continuous thing, because I don't think 10 years back or 12 years back, when I thought I'll be doing a corporate job, I didn't think I'll be using AI, or I didn't know what is AI.
Obviously.
So evolution and learning is a key.
So you mentioned about learning, which is again very, very crucial part of it, right? So when you say there are a lot of platforms, I think even Salesforce gives you that extra hands-on where you don't have to pay anything, I'm sure, right? A lot of students so train in terms of AI, in terms of any sort of skills. You have Udemy. There are a lot of such platforms, open source platforms where you can learn, right? So how important is just to learn, or I would utilize it that as an implementation as well, because today we learn a lot of things, we consume a lot of content day in day out, we keep scrolling, but how much do we implement is again a question mark, right? So do you have any thoughts on implementation, learning plus implementation? You have any thoughts on that?
Super lovely question, I would say. One thing I look at it from this perspective is there is a huge difference between education and literacy.
True.
Right? So when we talk about literacy, a person who knows ABC and can speak and write is a literate person. But when we don't say this person is well educated, when we say someone is well educated, they know what the concept is all about. They understand those concepts and use them in real life. How are you able to implement it in real life? How practical are you with what you learn?
What do you learn?
Right? So when we talk about AI or any other courses that are available out there, it's okay to have those badges on your resume, right? But are you able to really use those in your day-to-day work? That's what really matters. How educated you are in terms of that AI literacy or in terms of any certifications that you're doing. So that matters the most. And talking about, even it might be a free certification or maybe a couple of dollars paid certification, it's all about what are you trying to take out of that, and how you're going to, again, you currently mentioned it, how you're going to implement it, right? That's what really matters.
Okay, so I have seen that you have been quite an active person on LinkedIn as well. Yeah. So you see to it that you put how important is that personal branding, even despite you're in a good position, you're in a good organization, but still you feel that yes, personal branding is also important. So what do you think about it?
Love that question, right? Love that question, because I do train a lot of sales reps and I teach them why and how important social selling is. So again, LinkedIn falls as one
True.
of the social selling platforms. Now, going back to a couple of years, as you mentioned, I'm a social butterfly. I'm going to see a random person, say hi, and start having a conversation with them. So this really stopped when the COVID hit. And
True.
COVID, if you are a brand, a person who is creating your own brand, again, everything that we buy today or take decisions about is about how good the brand is. So if you as a person are not able to build a brand, you're not going to last longer.
True.
Right? Because our competition was building their own brand. Now, going back to LinkedIn as a platform. So when I was not able to connect with people, how do I show how good I am? How do I continue that momentum? People will forget. If they don't see you, they'll forget you, right? So you need to make sure that you're on top of it. People see you, they know what you're doing. It might even feel a little bit too much to boast about yourself, but you need to do it.
You need to do it, yes.
Otherwise, they're not going to know about you. So I think after COVID is when it really enhanced my outreach, and the way I put up my posts and everything really enhanced. And I think it is important. Now, my motivator is, okay, if I don't have anything to post on LinkedIn this month, what do I do differently that I can post about?
True.
Really gives me
start finding a reason for that, I would say. I mean, any individual for that matter.
Exactly. And today, the network that I have, I'll give you a real life story here. I decided to take a break for some time, maybe a month or two, and then come back to Salesforce again for some reason. And in this 1 or 2 months, what happened is COVID hit, a lot of layoffs started happening. True. Now, I was out of job for maybe a month or two, and I don't know what to do next. Right? This is when one of my networks from Salesforce calls me up and tells me, he heads India. He used to head India from MuleSoft back then. He calls me, he's like, hey Shraddha, you remember we had this opportunity to work on this together? I was like, yes sir. So will you love to join, like, would you like to join my team? I'm heading a global team for operations. Would you like to move in? Like, oh, nothing sounds better than that.
Absolutely,
yeah. Because now definitely you build that brand impression, but they remember you because you're out there on LinkedIn posting stuff. They know, they have that window.
People know what you are up to.
Exactly. So that's very, very important. How you come across on your professional platforms and across as a brand to your network.
Okay, so this question is more specific to our aspiring students who are looking forward to pursue the management education. So what message would you love to give it to those folks who are watching this and want to understand? See, we discussed a lot of things, right? If I have to say that, Shraddha, from your end, because students want from horse's mouth, right? So you are the right person to speak about. What is a degree gives you? What corporate teaches you? and where life takes you, right? So it's a three phase, I would say. So because when you walk in as a student, you have a different mindset.
True.
When you walk in as a fresh baby or a fresher into the corporate,
Yeah.
there is a different perspective, and life has its own plans.
That's so true.
Right? So if you could help us with that.
100%. So I think when we talk about degree, that's something we look at from a basics perspective, right? So, but gone are the days when you show a degree and you get a job, right? And I really would like to say hats off to you and your team, what the entire GIBS management team is doing, where you're not only looking at degree, but the actual real life skills,
True.
right? And that is where I have seen a gap where when you come out of the college, you don't know what corporate looks like. And how do I use the skills? I learned employee behavior on a, in a paragraph in one of my syllabus. How do you use it here? I don't know. But when I see my students here, my juniors here, working on those projects, working on those extracurricular activities, hearing the real-time conversations from the, the experts in the market about what exactly this looks like, it really gives them a different perspective. So definitely your degrees are important. They're going to take you to a certain level. But how do you shape yourself after that is very important, because in college, it's all, safe environment where you are treated equally, you are given all equal opportunities. But as soon as you hit that corporate ladder, you are the one who creates your own path. If you're able to climb it easily, that's when you get more opportunities. If you're still on the first and second, and don't know where to go, it's going to be a tough ride from there onwards. So in those things, there is always life factor which comes in, right? What you can do is, life hits everyone equally and differently, I would say, right? Someday you will be topping the dashboard of whatever KPIs, KRAs you are doing, and next day you know that you're not able to do your best, right? What matters is from that campus to corporate, in between that space, how did you build your brand? Again, going to the same pointers here. How did you build that brand? How did you grow resilient?
True.
Because I'm not saying no one's going to fall or push you and you will not fall. You will fall. What matters is how soon do you recover from that?
How do you bounce back from there?
Exactly. So there's going to be a COVID, there's going to be AI, there's going to be layoffs. How do you bounce back from there? Because that's life, right? And corporate can't do anything about it.
True.
So yeah, I think resilience, keeping yourself updated and saying yes to every opportunity that comes your way is very important.
That's amazing, Shraddha. And I must say, I have a lot of takeaways. And don't worry, I've also enrolled for the new program which Salesforce is giving it. So what I would do is, one last thing which I want to understand is, being a person who works in a corporate, okay, what is your social responsibility? I would say not only corporate, any individual, since you're also doing the same thing today, you're returning back to your alma mater, right?
Correct.
So how important is that to give back to society in any way possible, right? So what's your thought on that? That do you think is it mandatory to give back to society, or you're probably alma mater, or I would say any form of return back to the nature, to the society, to the people around?
I really love that you have this thought or having this conversation. I think, above everything that we do in terms of money, the rigor, the corporate race and everything, there is something called as the ethical compass, right? So that ethical compass, if you really want it to be pointing north and still you want to go south, that's your decision. But you know what is right, what is rational. So if I'm giving back to my college today, I know it's going to evolve. Eventually, it will give back to me. The brand that it grows, I'm going to grow with that brand, right? True. That's one thing to be said. Apart from that, the society today, if I'm working with these students, to even if one person gets impacted in a positive way, somewhere it comes back. I'm a very spiritual person, not a religious, but a spiritual person. But yeah, I really believe in that. If you give without any expectations, it does come back some way or other in much more grand way, I would say.
Amazing the way you said. And it actually touched when you say spirituality is important. That's a key of life. And that's for a self. It's not for anybody else. You're not doing it for anybody else and say, boss, I am doing this, I am doing that. That's absolutely for yourself. to make sure that you keep up yourself to the next level up, and that boosts your energy to move forward. So thank you so much, Shraddha, for being here. It's an honor to have you with us, and looking forward that we keep hosting a lot of such probably podcast, or I would say just want to be associated with all our students. And we feel so happy seeing all you guys growing like anything, making amazing things in your lifetime. And it's always feels so proud, I can proudly say, yeah, Shraddha is my student, man. I mean, we have it's that feeling when you say your students, the I would say you guys are the bench setters. And I must say this, you had set a very high benchmark way back, I would say. And today, when we see even today, right? So a lot of students are not able to match with that thought process. So amazing, amazing, Shraddha. Thank you so much for joining in, and lovely having you with us today.
Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure. It is not only nostalgic, but feels like coming back home. I'll be really honest with you. It feels like coming back home. I was equally clueless if the other students there were. So I wish I had this knowledge back then. So that's the only thing. If I have this today, maybe it will help them. That was the only intent. But really feels good to be back home.
Absolutely.
It's always a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Shraddha, one last question from your end. I want you to give a message to all our aspiring students who are looking forward to pursue their education at GIBS or any management program for that matter. What message would you love to give it to them?
Thank you so much. First of all, great opportunity I have had here to speak to a lot of aspiring students. So I really wish I knew this back then, that one thing that's going to take you a long way is skills, right? Degree, yes, it's going to be your basic, like bread and butter, but bread and butter won't serve you throughout your life. You need those vitamins, proteins, and a lot of other things to lead a healthy life. Similarly, your bread and butter, which is the basics, is going to be your degree, but what you really need to build out of is your skills, right? Most of the students come in that, okay, this is a college I'm going to attend, and this is the qualification I'm going to get, and this is how I'm going to place. Now, for that placement, what you need to focus on is building those skills, right? So, say for example, it's equivalent like you're participating in a triathlon where you run, swim, and cycle. Now, winning is the ultimate goal, yes, but if you want to just focus on winning, when will you do the preparation? So, this is the time where you develop your skills. Degree comes in basic, yes, your basic literacy. Again, when we talk about education, focus on your digital fluency. When I say digital fluency, back then it was about how to use a computer. Today it's about how to use an AI, right? So that's very important. First, get your basics right, your bread butter right, get your vitamins right, you'll win the race on your own.
Thank you everyone for joining in. It's an amazing having all you back to this amazing episode with Shraddha, and keep following up with the social media platforms of GIBS IRE Talks podcast so that you stay updated what's coming next. And we see to it that every time we come up with a new guest, we want to add value to your life. It's just not a podcast, but I would say, as Shraddha rightly mentioned, even 1% of this can help somebody. I think we are done with our purpose. So looking forward to see you all again. Keep updating your profiles. Keep watching for new things, what you can learn out of it. And looking forward to see you once again. Have a great time ahead, and please take care of yourself. Bye-bye.